Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and Verizon users, you've got a couple of awesome Android handsets to choose from this holiday season. One of those is a Motorola DROID RAZR, which was announced a couple of weeks ago and is available now for $299. Now this sucker packs a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, an 8-megapixel camera, a 4.3-inch display, and more. Then you have the HTC Rezound over here, the first device by HTC in the US to support Beats by Dr. Dre. And it also has some awesome specs. Dual-core 1.5 gigahertz processor, an 8-megapixel camera, and Android 2.3 as well. So two high-end 4G LTE Android phones on Verizon. But you know what this is? This is a dogfight. So only one of these can take home the gold medal. Which one will it be? We have to find out. But first I'm going to give some love to my friends at Best Buy because they hook us up with phones like this and like this for use in our one-paw bandit game. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, regardless of whether you get the RAZR or the Rezound, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email. They'll help you set up your Beats if you get the Rezound. And they'll help you set up email, web, and more. So when you walk out that door, you're good to go at Best Buy Mobile. Let's take a look at these. Straight into browsers we go here. Let's take a look at the Rezounds first. And again, if you're coming from a previous Sense device, you're going to notice some changes up here to the bar. And that's really what Sense is, or Sense 3.5 is. It's really more of an evolutionary upgrade from Sense 3.0. So no real huge changes, but you'll see I really like that they've included in these little fonts down at the bottom, this text down at the bottom. So instead of just having an icon, it's a little easier to access. So let's say PhoneDog.com. Over here, and we'll load it up on the DROID RAZR as well. PhoneDog.com. PhoneDog. PhoneDog. One day I'm going to surprise you and be like, PhoneCat.com. You guys are going to be like, what? Maybe you won't be like, what? But I'm just saying. Here's PhoneDog.com, and you can see, pinch to zoom, the page isn't fully loaded yet, so I want to give it its fair shake. But again, just continuing over from part one, the display on the Rezound is just absolutely beautiful. And if display is your thing, and this is going to be like any other device in this holiday season, it's really going to depend when you walk in the door as to what's most important to you. If you're all about display and all about music, well, my friend, the Rezound is going to be the device for you. If you're all about thin and you're all about a little bit of a faster performance, in my opinion, the RAZR. The DROID RAZR is going to be the one for you. Obviously, I think this one's going to sell a little bit better over the holiday season just because it has that DROID branding, and you know how much faith Verizon puts behind their DROID branding. And also it has the RAZR branding as well, which is just iconic. So you can see pinch to zoom, relatively responsive on this. This thing isn't even fully loaded yet, and you can see pretty responsive with the header appearing up the top. Little to no lag there. And let's load this. I don't know why this one's or why it's taking a sweet time, but you can see pinch to zoom also very responsive over here. Now this is something I like on Sense that I don't really care for on Motorola's UI, and I kind of cover these in all the videos, but take a look at what it looks like when you pinch and zoom out the pages and you're going to open a new window. Well, you get the preview here, so you know right where you left off. It's kind of this nice visually pleasing look, whereas over here it's all text. So I open up a secondary window, come back to Windows, and you see I'm back at PhoneDog, but there's no text, there's no picture rather, whereas over here, I'm going to go back to PhoneDog, I know right where I left off. It's quick and easy. So that's a pretty quick browser test for you. I think in the browser comparison, they're both about the same in terms of speed. I'd give a slight edge to the Rezound just because of it having that ability to pinch and zoom out. It may not matter to you, but for me, the ability to kind of see where I left off and then kind of come back to that when I'm done is really nice. So I just want to focus on the widgets really quickly here because you can see two distinctly different weather widgets here, which also are telling me two different temperatures, which is pretty interesting. So you can see over here, I think HTC's really fleshed this out and done a good job, particularly in their recent build of Sense, where we'll come over here and see, easy to tell the weather, and if I had the sound turned on, let's get the sound turned up. Actually, I do have it turned up. I do like this also in Sense 3.5, the ability to kind of touch and change the ringer volume right there, which is a cool little thing. But you can see weather here, and then of course the widgets give you an idea of what some of the widgets look like. Now one thing I like about Motorola's widgets, they're customizable. You can change the size and really make them fit within your home screen. So if you're in an area where it's kind of tight, you're not really sure how much space you have, you can make it your own widget. Whereas this, it's one size fits all, or maybe there are 2 or 3 options, but you can't customize the sizes outside of that. So when you get over to a widget like this, and you're like, man, that's a big widget, it takes up the entire display. Well, Tough Tacos, Tough Tacos, if you, I like how I kind of question myself and then just said it again, but you get the idea. You can't make this any smaller or customize it at all. You're kind of out of luck there. So something to keep in mind. May not matter to you, but for somebody like me that fills up the page with widgets, I think it's a very useful thing. So obviously the winner over here on Rezound, or the winning feature rather, is Beats by Dr. Dre. Beats by Dr. Dre is built into this. It comes with a pair of Beats headphones, and then as long as you're using the music application and you plug those suckers in, you can access the music. And obviously I can't put earbuds up to the camera to let you hear it, but what I will say is in my testing before I wipe the device, it's been pretty decent. I've been really impressed with the music quality, but the downside is if you use Google Music, you use anything else, Pandora, anything else outside of the stock Google Music application, Beats doesn't work. So you have to either import everything into Music or just use the included earbuds and don't deal with the Beats technology, because that's really kind of a downside to me, that you have to use the Music app because there are so many options in Android and still kind of fragmented with Google Music and Pandora and all these different options, as opposed to the ecosystem on iOS where it's kind of like iTunes and that's really it. Now I think Android, or Google rather, is really working on that, because when you go into market, you'll notice what they announced last week, the music part. And we'll go in here and see that now it says apps, music, books, and movies. And within music, you can, I don't know what's going on with the wireless connection on this one, but let's see if we can get, there we go. So apps, music, books, and movies, and I can go straight into music, and I can see all these different music options with more to come according to Google. This was announced at their music event last week. Now over here is what the apps look like, and you can just see kind of a revision to the Android market in general. It just looks better. And let's bring this one up since we've given the Rezound some camera time. Let's change it over to this one. So I can see Paradise by Coldplay, for example, and it gives me a kind of a brief overview, if you will, songs, reviews, and then how much it costs, and similar content, similar artists, market content flag is inappropriate. So it's quick and easy to access, and then of course I can search by let's say Bobby Brown, and come over here, listen to Bobby Brown, Bobby. Every Little Step, for example. And I can come over here and play a sample if I want to. There we go. Can't believe you call my own. And as a matter of fact, it blows my mind. So you get the idea. It's nice that that's available in the market now, and you're not, it's a little bit less fragmented. They still have some work to do to catch up with the industry leader, at least in music, which is iTunes. And so hopefully they'll be able to do that, because I think that's one area where Android's always kind of fallen behind, and my hope is that they'll get that up there and make it really competitive with iOS. So let's take a quick look at speed test numbers. Let's do quadrant standard on these bad boys and see. Of course, quadrant standard really isn't indicative of day-to-day performance. I need to actually install it over on this one. Okay, I had to get quadrant standard installed over onto the Rezound. So let's run the benchmarks here, and keep in mind, like I was saying, this isn't indicative of overall day-to-day performance, but I will talk a little bit about call quality. Now the winner in call quality, just by a narrow margin, is the DROID RAZR. Both of these do a pretty decent job, and I was happy with the Rezound because I have criticized HTC with some of their high-end devices. I feel like they kind of skimped out on the wireless radio a little bit. Not the case with the Rezound. It's been pretty decent, and call quality area is still that Motorola. I'm telling you take it to Verizon dead spot, and in areas where I've had trouble with all Verizon phones, Motorola just does a killer job in the wireless radio department. So if you're looking for something, you're in a lot of fringe areas, your calls are a priority to you, or having some sort of network connection, the DROID RAZR may be a better option for you. The Rezound, again, does a decent job. Now battery life is another area as well. Bigger battery over here, 1780, 1780 milliamp hours, 1620 over here, and I will say I've been more impressed with the RAZR. I feel like it lasts a couple more hours with moderate use, and again, I try to get them as close as possible. With moderate use, text messaging, emailing, calling, this one does last a little bit longer than the Rezound, just by about 2 hours. So keep that in mind. 2,195 over on the Rezound. So 2,195, 2,780 over on the Motorola DROID RAZR. So a little bit faster according to quadrant standard on the DROID RAZR, but again, take that with a grain of salt. Also, one thing I just noticed, the buttons are reversed as well, so you have home and menu reversed on these two devices. Just something small, but kind of interesting nonetheless. Let's do a speed test really quickly, and I'm going to try to get this one in. Let's do these as quickly as we can. I'll make sure they're both on the same server. They are not. Let's get this over on Shelby. And let's get that over in kilobits, or megabits per second, and let's load those up and see what we can get here. So we'll do a quick speed test. Verizon's 4G LTE, very, very fast, not only in my office, but just in Charlotte in general and in any of the 4G LTE areas. I've tested it out, been very impressed with the speeds, but still, kind of rush hour right now, so keep that in mind, but still, I've definitely seen much faster speeds than what we're seeing here, about 7 megabits per second, although interestingly enough, they're right neck and neck with each other, so something to keep in mind. But I'll show you once this loads up, so you can see 5.71, so we'll see over here, you can see how fast it's been at certain times, 20, 22 megabits per second, so very fast on the 4G front. Quick look at camera, and I wish I'm not going to spend too much time in this, but the camera's been relatively decent. The camera's better on the Rezound. The video camera I find is better on the DROID RAZR. The sound quality's better. The overall audio much better on the DROID RAZR than it is on the Rezound. So I don't want to spend too much time in that, but I just want to show you what the actual editing areas look like here, and 1080p options on both. So if you're going for video shoots, do this one. If you're going for still pictures, go with the Rezound. So it's a tough call, but a Dogfight, I have to finish this up quickly before my battery dies. Winner of the Dogfight is Motorola DROID RAZR. You know, in terms of battery life, in terms of performance, it's the better device. So keep that in mind. The Rezound does an excellent job in Beats audio, and the screen is absolutely gorgeous. So much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with both of these devices. Keep it locked on the site. Like us on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron, and stay tuned for more coverage on both of these devices. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.